It is happening again. Yep, it's happening again. Hide your CEOs, hide your CFOs, hide your CTOs, hide your VPs. The FTC is back at it again. Now, who's up next? Who's next on deck? Microsoft. Microsoft is under FTC antitrust probing and investigation. They're just trying to take everything out. First they came for Google, now they're coming for Amazon. Tomorrow they are coming for you. We're going to jump into this article about the FTC launching a broad Microsoft investigation. They might try to break up Microsoft next again. Yep, again. Welcome to another episode of The Bug Bite, hosted by your shitty tech coach Ralph, where we're in journey to win. In today's episode of Welcome to another episode of The Bug Bite, hosted by your shitty tech coach Ralph, where we're engineering to win. In today's episode of The Bug Bite, we're going to be looking into the FTC going after Microsoft again. We've just recently reviewed how the federal government, the Department of Justice, they are going after Google. They're trying to break Google up. They are trying to break Google up. They're accusing them of being a monopoly. Today, it's Microsoft's turns. Microsoft, you're up next. So yeah, first they came for this company and you said nothing. Then they came for this company and you said nothing. Now they're coming for you and there is no one else to speak to you. We're going to be reading what is going on. We're going to be watching a video. We're going to be reading the article about what's going on with Microsoft and the Department of, or the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, coming after Microsoft to see what's all going on. Let's get started with the show for today. All right, let's get to it. All right, so we're going to start off with this video from Bloomberg where they are saying the FTC launches antitrust investigation. Let's see what's going on over here, all right?
What do we know?
So we know that it's essentially the beginning of what it was going to be a long process. The FTC has been kind of building up to this for about a year, interviewing competitors, customers, looking over documents a little bit. But now they've sort of have officially compelled Microsoft to produce what will end up being like a tremendous amount of material, documents, interviews, the whole bit. And it could be the beginning of a lengthy process.
And already at a time when we've seen other moves against Google as well. But if we get this new administration, Trump 2.0, where he's talked about more deregulation, about government efficiency and so forth, what sort of changes could we see in this approach?
So that's a good question. It's a little bit hard to know. I mean, if it's not terribly difficult for a new administration to want to sort of slow this down, if they wanted to take a different sort of tack. But, you know, the first Trump administration was pretty aggressive against tech companies. The Trump DOJ sued Google, the Trump FTC sued Facebook, or now Meta, and this would be just the next major tech company to face one of these sort of massive investigations. And I wouldn't expect this to be, you know, just automatically slowed down. I think there's a good chance it could move forward.
So that's sort of regardless of, it's been a con or not, right? You mentioned that this is the beginning of a lengthy process. Do we know what the sort of process is going to look like and how drawn out these things tend to be?
Yeah, I mean, these investigations can take several years. I think Google and Facebook and Apple and Amazon were all investigated for at least 2 to 3 years before lawsuits were filed. And I mean, if I would expect that to sort of hold here as well. And then at that point, if the government decides, you know, it has enough evidence to bring a case, it'll file a sort of a major monopolization case against Microsoft. But before that, you know, they're going to talk to every one of Microsoft's competitors, as many customers as they can. They're going to look through sort of what will probably be petabytes of data. It's just going to be a very long, sort of cumbersome process.
All right, so let's get into this article about what they were talking about. I'll just start off with saying this, right? I am not the biggest advocate. I'm not an advocate at all for the whole going after tech companies, regardless of who's doing it, whether it's the Trump administration or the Biden administration or whoever other administration. I am not a fan of the government going after these technology companies because they are going after the brightest people, creating innovations, creating technology that no one else has really created, or no one else has really created to the level that they've created it. And I feel that it's trying to bring us back, trying to slow us down from everything that could be, So I'm just whenever they're starting to attack like whatever company, like whether you're attacking, at one point in time, people could say Sears was a monopoly, but now Sears doesn't even barely exist anymore. So I don't know. Let's get into this article and let's start reading to see. One thing I asked for, give me evidence, right? With this Google thing, I still don't have any evidence of why they're trying to bring up Google, but let's see if the case is different for Microsoft. It's going to be a long, hard battle. So let's see. All right. So this article is brought to us by The Verge. It's titled "Microsoft is being investigated by the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, over antitrust concerns. It's not clear what could happen if the probe once Trump appoints a new chair and Republican commissioner." And this was written by Lauren Feiner, a senior policy reporter at The Verge, covering the intersection of Silicon Valley and Capitol Hill. All right, so let's start reading it says Microsoft is being investigated by the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, in a wide-ranging antitrust probe, making it the fifth big tech company to fall under such scrutiny in several years. Like I said, I don't like it. I don't like them attacking our leaders in this technological boom, right? But to be fair, I don't know where these companies really have another option. Like you started your company in the United States and you've built it and you're continuing to innovate, and then all of a sudden it says, oh well, now you're too big, you innovated too much, so or you have these little companies who are trying to do this and that. They don't have enough money, so you know what? I'm gonna buy you and bring you into the fold, and it's like, no, you can't do it. And it's like, for me, I'm like, I don't like it. I just don't like it, But that's me. A lot of people disagree with me on this, and that's okay, right? I'm okay if people disagree with me, but I always err on the side of innovation and technology and advancements over let's go back to the 1950s and 1940s, and let's go back to the 1800s. We're gonna just ride our horse and buggy. So, anyways, whatever. I digress. The agency is looking into Microsoft's cloud and software licensing business, cybersecurity services, and AI offerings. Bloomberg first reported the news, and The Verge confirmed an investigation with a person familiar with the matter, granted anonymity to speak to a confidential probe. The demand for information that spans hundreds of pages and culminates over a year of informal discussions with Microsoft competitors and partners. One focus is how Microsoft bundles productivity and security software with its Azure cloud, per the source. The FTC's interest in Microsoft's cloud business picked up in the wake of several security incidents impacting its product, particularly because Microsoft is a top supplier of software to U.S. government agencies. The FTC and Microsoft both declined to comment. So, and here's the thing. You are like, it sucks. It really sucks, right? Because when you when you do business with the government, you are indeed getting in bed with the devil, right? Am I calling the government the devil? That's for you to decide. But when you do, because guess what? They will pay you a lot of money. However, you're selling your soul to them. And now, as soon as they disagree with one little thing that you do, or whatever, then they want to attack you. And that's the danger of it. That's the danger. But now, so here's another alternative, right? So maybe the company, because maybe a company is not milking the federal government. On the other hand, who would want to do business with the federal government if at any moment, at any drop of a dime, they can come after you because, hey, just because we do business with you, we don't like this, that, and the other, and now we're going to sue you. We're going to break up your company. You're going to break up your company. So if someone tries to say, okay, I want the government really likes some type of software technology, and a company says, no, we don't want to do business with you. Your money is no good here. Now what? Because honestly, like, that's the feeling that I get when I'm seeing every week lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. The DOJ is going after this company. The DOJ is going after that company. But they let real criminals go with these stupid little deals that they make. But they want to go after like the people who are providing who are keeping our society running day to day. If Microsoft was to take away their operating system for a day, if you guys thought the CloudStrike was bad, imagine if Microsoft said, you know what, we're just gonna shut down, like nobody can log into their computers for a day. Now who's gonna be able to log in? People who use Linux and people who use Apple. All the cloud computing type stuff, they're gonna go down. Because Azure is not the only provider of Microsoft servers. There's Microsoft servers on AWS. There's Microsoft servers on Google Cloud Platform. So it's like we are harming ourselves when we like. And I'm just saying this without evidence being provided to me. That's how I feel. Now, if the FTC or the Department of Justice comes back to me and says, "This is the evidence," now I'm going to say, "Okay, do I really think this is bad?" Or like, because a lot of times they'll give you evidence, and I'm like, "I don't see nothing wrong with that," you know. So, and I'm speaking from a tech perspective, not from a legal perspective. I'm speaking from a tech and a consumer perspective, because a lot of times the consumer is the one who's gonna be hurt the most, you know. And that's why I'm wondering, like, if a company says, you know, I don't want to do business with the federal government, now what? Now we, the people, get a lesser product and service because of how the government moves in their ways, and they just. I didn't vote for the FTC chair, you know, like I didn't vote for the people who are trying to go after them. Anyways, whatever, right? So let's continue. It says all right, we got that. All right, so now the government Cyber Safety Review Board concluded earlier this year that Microsoft's security culture was inadequate and requires an overhaul, particularly in light of the company's centrality in the technology ecosystem, right? So, I've never heard of this government cyber safety review board. I want to know who the members are, what their credentials are, all that type of stuff. Right? Soon after, CEO Satya Nadella issued a memo to employees saying, if you're faced with a trade-off between security and another priority, your answer is clear: do security. Duh. I mean, come on. All right. If the FTC brought a lawsuit against the company, it would put Microsoft back into a familiar position from a bygone era. The company faced an anti-monopoly lawsuit from the Department of Justice in the late 90s over the bundling of its web browser and Windows operating system. But in recent years, Microsoft has mostly escaped the kind of antitrust scrutiny applied to Amazon, Apple, Meta, and Google, each of which is fighting its own monopoly charges from the government. God, it's just like, you have no idea how mad just reading that line makes me. The government is going after Amazon, Apple, Meta, and Google. If any of these companies were to say, you know, we're not providing any services to the United States for an hour, for just 1 hour, our lives would be absolute hell, chaos. We'd have to go back to using Yahoo and Excite for our search engine if they took down Google. If Google says, you know what, screw you guys, we're just gonna shut down for an hour. Let's do an experiment. What? Question for you: would you be willing to do an experiment? Right? Would you be willing to do an experiment? I'm gonna make the poll on this video, right? Would you be willing to do an experiment where for 1 hour, let's do 1 hour might be a little small. No, because Apple's included, Google's included. Would you be willing for 1 hour that Amazon, Apple, Meta, and Google all shut down at the same exact time, and Microsoft all shut down at the same exact time? So your phone is not doing anything, whether you're on Apple or an Android phone. You can't access Amazon. You can't access Facebook. Wasn't there a movie similar to this just recently? Right? Anyways, what? So let's continue. It says, still, a Democratic majority on the FCC is set to change soon when President-elect Donald Trump is inaugurated in January. He will likely choose one of the agency's current 2 Republican commissioners to serve as acting chair, and will ultimately get to nominate a new chair or commissioner to the agency who aligns with his viewpoints. It's not out of the question they'd continue to probe. However, since Trump's last DOJ and FTC respectively filed antitrust suits against Google and Meta, right? So I don't know. That's that. I'm not a fan of this whole stuff. Are you in favor of these antitrust lawsuits? Do you believe that quote unquote monopolies are actually a bad thing, or monopolies even exist? I mean, to me, Amazon, Apple, Meta, and Google and Microsoft are all competitors. So for them to be a monopoly, that's a whole nother story, right? But we're not going to get into that. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think, like, do you approve of these antitrust lawsuits, these probes, breaking up these major companies who've done so much for each and every one of us, for our in our lives, making such a big difference? Like, I mean, I don't know where I'd be today without Microsoft. I don't know where I'd be. Microsoft has played such a big impact in my life, and Google as well. Amazon as of late, Apple, a very, very big impact now, because I do all of my recordings, all of my streamings, all of my development on Apple computers. So Meta, I can live without Meta. Honestly, I can live without. I could definitely live without Meta, but that's a different story. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know every time that we go live and drop new content. And if you need additional information, if you need one-on-one coaching, check out TechCoachRuff.dev. Tons and tons of content exclusive there. And we do all types of activities if you need to level up, right? With that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Tech Coach Ralph with another episode of The Bug Bite. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. We are out.
Caught in a glitch. What's the fix this time? Chasing down bugs. Oh, it feels like a crime. Every software tale got a story to tell. In the world of tech, it's a digital swell. Watch us dive deep in lines of code, finding the truth on this heavy road. Welcome to the Bug Bite, we unveil the fight. In a world of software, we'll shine the light. From errors to dangers, we'll guide your way. Stay tuned for the scoop every single day. Lurk in the data stream, hacking our dreams. Is it all just a scheme? From the latest news to the viral threat, we break it all down. You ain't seen nothing yet. With every bug found, we take a stance. Join in the rhythm, give tech a chance. Welcome to the Bug Bite, we unveil the fight. In a world of software, we'll shine the light. From errors to dangers, we'll guide your way. Stay tuned for the scoop every single day. Hit the subscribe, don't miss out the fun. Together we'll conquer one bug at a run. Stay tuned for the scoop every single day. So hit that subscribe, don't miss out the fun. Together we'll conquer one bug at a run.